All right, perfect. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. One of the things we're going to talk about is Tudca. Um, this is probably something none of you guys have heard about. I do a lot, so I have specialty training in neurology. I have a certification in neurology as well. I do lots and lots of neurodegeneration stuff. So I work on MS, I work on dementia, Alzheimer's, ALS, uh, restoring cognitive function, improving cognitive function, ADD, ADHD. I work on that stuff all the time. One of the things that is a really, really big player that people don't understand is that the body is a system. It is one system made up of multiple different individual systems. The way the liver and the lymphatics work is really, really, really important to the way the brain works. For instance, the vast majority of the serotonin that you have for your brain, for a mood and stuff like that, is made in the gut, which is why when we take antibiotics, we also see a very, very high correlation of depression, anxiety, and stuff like that with long-term antibiotic use, because it destroys your body's ability to produce serotonin, which is very well known. But hey, that's another drug they get to sell. So they pump you full of antibiotics, and oh, you have depression, anxiety? We had no idea. Well, here's some drugs for that. Which is, again, why we really need to watch our antibiotic use. But we've been using Tudca for a while now. Tudca has tremendous amounts of positive research with it on brain health and neurodegeneration, stuff like that. But it also is a big player with the liver. It helps with bile salt functionality, helps with emulsification of fats, helps with cleaning all that up. But the big thing is that it can help correct the way that your body uses something called apoptosis. So apoptosis is programmed cell death, and it's highly energy intensive. And to do it properly and safely, your body requires lots of different things. This happens all the time. Like your body will find a cell and go, "You're not working the way you're supposed to," or it'll start to become cancerous, and your body goes, "No," and kills it. And that's what the apoptosis is. Tudca really, really helps with that. It helps to break all those binds down. And it helps kind of put those back together, but it also supports the body in a lot of different ways. It helps push back against reactive oxidative stress, which creates which is your free radical damage, which is where you get your heart attacks and strokes from oxidation of LDL, and it does a number of other things. Tudca can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, which is really important because if we're trying to help neurology, we're trying to help the brain. Getting Tudca in there is pretty beneficial. There's other things. The reason I waited to talk about this one is because there's lots of things you got to do with this one. Unfortunately, when we start talking about big issues like fibromyalgia, Lyme's, neurodegenerative diseases, so the MS, the dementia, all those other things, those are really big issues. And the reason that any brain problem is a really big issue is because your body understands your brain is your number one thing, and it will do everything for your brain. And then as a second afterthought, do everything for the rest of the body. So if you're starting to have issues with neurology, it's because everything else in your body is already broken down. So we've got issues with gut function, liver function, you've got immune function issues that all need to be corrected. Oftentimes you have sleep issues, sleep apnea, oxygen issues. So when we start talking about brain stuff, the reason why people have such poor ability to give 1 or 2 or 3 nutrients and have the brain respond is because you're 20 nutrients deep by the time you start having brain issues. So we're still trying to find the best group to use for Tudca. I've gotten the ones we have now are great, but they're very limited. They make small batches. So the ones I'm using in the office are great. We just can't put them online. So I'll start giving you guys more and more information about the Tudca as it comes out. It's TUDCA if you guys want to research it. It stands for a very long chemical name that your body uses to produce things. But look it up. It's TUDCA. There's great research on it. I take it every day. My wife takes it every day. So it's a really, really big one to take. It's an important one to take. If you're going to be fasting, that's another piece of this we got to work in. I got some questions over fasting. Most of you guys, if you want to fast properly, you want to fast the way that I would tell you to fast, which is where you get all of the nutrients that your body requires for the day from supplemental form. That highly depends upon you as a person. So whenever I write those plans out and kind of figure out what they need, we go through and we clean a lot of stuff up first. So, you're going to need the B vitamins, you're going to need the omega-3 fatty acids, you're going to need, a lot of the stuff. If you had the vaccine, I'll do a video maybe next week or tomorrow just on vaccine damage, COVID vaccine damage. You might have to watch that one on X, so I doubt they're going to keep it up on anything else. They banned my how to fix COVID videos. But when we start seeing degradation from that, those are some of the things that we've got to really kind of factor in. So when we sit down and I say, okay, what are your goals? Where are we going? When we fast, that's how we build everything else out. So if you have a parasitic infection, it's going to steal your B vitamins and things like that. We got to clear that out first. I've seen lots of people jump into these, 3, 5, 7 day water fast. And all they're doing is drinking water. And that is the dumbest thing you guys could do. I mean, yeah, your body will eventually shift over and not burn that much muscle. But if you start off in a normal diet where you're eating carbohydrates that are turning into sugars, running your body on sugar, or in what I call a glucose-fed state, and then you just stop eating, your body will maintain that glucose-fed state by tearing apart your muscle tissue. And this is, again, what we see with Ozempic and semaglutide if you guys are using it wrong. That's why it's so unhealthy. That's why we see so many long-term ramifications from it, because you're literally starving yourself, holding yourself in a glucose-fed state, ripping apart all your muscle tissue to supply the glucose that you need. And most of your livers aren't in a position where they can produce the glucose in a safe manner. So you're doing a tremendous amount more damage to yourself than you're doing benefit. So when you start getting into the fasting piece, if you're going to do more than 8 to 16 hours, you really need to start focusing on what nutrients does my body need? Am I in a fat oxidizing state? Supplying all of the nutrients your body needs from a supplement form to maintain the top tier of health. So, again, it's one of those things where people get, 2-3% of the information that they need to do something. And because it's popular, they all go and do it. And so they're like, oh, I don't know why it messed me up. I don't know why I went into diabetic ketoacidosis. I don't know why, I started having all these emotional issues. I don't know why I got all depressed. I don't know why I ran out of energy. I don't know why after I've been on Ozempic for 3 months, it's hard to stand up because you ate all your muscle tissue. And by the way, lots of times when people go on any diet, regardless of the Ozempic thing, and then they lose all this weight and they feel all proud about themselves because they watch the scale go down, and then they go back to or close back to their normal diet and they gain all that weight back plus more. The reason is because the weight you lost wasn't fat. The weight you lost was muscle. And the muscle houses the mitochondria. The muscle houses your metabolism. And so if you lose muscle and then you go back to eating the same way you did, your body has a lot less ability to create ATP and a lot greater reason and ability to store the nutrients, the stuff you're eating as fat. So if you set yourself up properly ahead of time, you guys will do a lot better. Now, that might mean that you've got to figure out, do some chemistry and figure out how that works, but it's worth the effort, because if you guys are going to go through the effort of building muscle, doing a diet, sacrificing, being dedicated, being committed, you might as well do it right and have the best possible outcome at the end. So if you guys are looking at fasting and you're thinking that you're just stop eating, you're going to mess yourself up. I know a lot of gurus out there who have very little, actual chemical knowledge are pushing you guys to, just stop eating and fast and autophagy and it's fabulous and you'll do fantastic and super healthy. It's not if you do it wrong. I mean, if you work out wrong, you're going to hurt yourself. If you diet wrong, you're going to get fat and hurt yourself. If you fast wrong, you're going to hurt yourself. So make sure you guys figure out what nutrients you guys need if you're going to start fasting. It's really, really important to get the right nutrients in. Otherwise, your body can't function. If you don't have CoQ10, you're not going to make ATP properly. You're going to produce a lot of free radicals, and that's going to increase the body's need for, or the body's creation of plaquing and oxidized LDL and all sorts of damage. So you got to get your CoQ10 in. Methylated B vitamins make everything in the body run. So you got to get your methylated B vitamins in, all of them. The vast majority of you are going to need more omega-3 fatty acids. Anybody who has had COVID or has any issues with clotting or anything like that, or has had the vaccine, you need to look at nitokinase. So there's a whole host of things you guys need to do before you just jump on the bandwagon and stop eating. At least to do it healthy. If you guys want to jump on and not eat for a couple of days just to see how tough you are, knock it out. It's going to do damage to your body, but if it's 3 or 4 days and you eat and you supplement properly before and afterwards, you'll probably be okay. Probably. So, but that's kind of where that is. So if you guys are starting to fast, figure out how to do it properly. Take your supplements, get those things in. If you have not looked at Tudca, look at Tudca, especially if you or someone you love has any neurodegenerative diseases, or if you're worried about those. We talk about heart attacks and strokes a lot. I'll take a heart attack or a stroke that kills me every single time over the idea of getting dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, where my mind just starts melting away and somebody else has to, take care of me physically. No. So that's why I spend so much time worrying about my neurology, because I've had some neurodegenerative diseases, and since I work on this every day and I see how damaging it is, not just the person, but to the family, it's a really big deal. So, real quick on that one, get your ATP up. So CoQ10, methylated B vitamins, specifically methylated folic acid, Tudca, oxygen, omega-3 fatty acids. Those are going to be your big ones for brain. So get those in. But if you guys have any other questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com. Leave them in the comments and we'll get going. Saturday is my first posing practice, so that should be a hilarity. We'll take some videos and pictures of that. So we will see you guys this afternoon. Thanks for your time.